in the ancient city that was then called Persia, there lived a horsebreeder by the name of Abdul Kareem. Now, Abdul Kareem was a very ethical and pious man. One night he was sleeping such as only an honest and God-fearing man can do, when several robbers came along and stole his 3 breeding mares. Now, horse stealing was one of the worst sins that could be in those days. So Abdul Kareem was very angry, and he was going to set out to find his mares no matter what. Now, Abdul Kareem had a magnificent black stallion by the name of Shanush. So he saddled Shanush and he set out, leaving his stallion to lead the way. The stallion made a straight line and flew like the wind. And eventually they came to a town. But as they came to the outskirts of the town, Shanush seemed to lose his focus of where it was that he was going. So Abdul Kareem got down and tied Shanush to a tree and went into the town, because he knew this town. It was a town that was well known for its horse trading market. So he was sure to be able to meet someone he knew. So he went into the coffee shop and he was drinking his last glass of green tea when an old acquaintance came over to him, and Abdul Kareem told him what had happened and asked him his advice. And the friend said, "Oh yes, in fact, I saw 2 men leading 3 mares through the town not so long ago." "Ah," said Abdul Kareem, "I'm going right this very minute. I'm going to find my mares." He went back to where he'd tethered Shanush, and he whispered in Shanush's ear. Shanush seemed to nod in total understanding, and they set out through the town. And not very far out they came to a place that was barricaded off, and Shanush neighed loudly, and there was an answering whinny from inside this building. So Abdul Kareem knew that his mares were inside. So he turned Shanush around, and Shanush, using his powerful hooves, bashed in the wall of the compound and released the mares. Just then, 2 men came running out of a building nearby, who were obviously those who had stolen the mares. And Abdul Kareem gave them a good beating with the rope that he had in his hand. He took his mares, and riding Shanush, they went back into town. And of course, by this time, all the townspeople knew what had happened, and they went in search of the 2 robbers. But the 2 robbers were never again to be seen. And Abdul Kareem returned to his abode and lived out his life with no further difficulties from anyone trying to steal his mares. Now you know that it's not the usual custom to analyze stories that are told, the many stories that are told. But before a question can be asked of you, perhaps it's necessary just to go back over a little background of what it is that's been occurring and what we've come to understand from our experiences. We know well that saying, take all perceptions from the sensual, the aesthetic and the transcendent level of mind and bring them to the subtle level of body, speech and mind. And we know from our experience that those lower levels are the levels of ego mind. That transcendent level of mind is when our ego rules the levels of the sensual, which is the cause and effect, the level of ordinary life, the nitty-gritty. And it also rules the level of our intuition and our dreams and our imagination. So this level of mind we can call the ego level of mind. But when we traverse our spiritual journey and the mind becomes more refined and we drop off our karmic accretions and our conditioning, we rise to a level of that subtle level of mind, of body, speech and mind. The body of appearances, the speech of vibrations and the mind of awareness, which when we put it together can be called a level of oneness, abiding in a level of interrelatedness. And we know that that level of mind has a name. In various persuasions, it's called Satchitananda, existence, knowledge and bliss. Satori, oneness. Grace, living in a state of grace. But this is a level of mind, and we know that we are not our mind. So there's something more. There's something more than mind. And some of us have experienced that at this level there is a danger. Just like we've seen those masts, those wandering masts in India, where they've lost touch with reality. Certainly their relationship with whatever we like to call it is there, out of their mouth. If you get close to them, you hear words of wisdom, but they have no contact with reality. They're not able to function effectively in life anymore. So therein lies the danger. So having listened to this very simple folk story, the question that's asked of you is, what is this black stallion to you? Knowing that these mares, these breeding mares, are the subtle levels of mind, body, speech and mind. Body of appearances, speech of vibration, and mind of awareness. Those things that allow us, taking in the perceptions and experiences of life, to live life, to respond to life, to interact with life, because they then pass down the columns at the side of the spine and rise up the column of pure mind as our response, our interaction with life. But if we're no longer part of life, it's not a life of response and interaction. What does this black stallion represent for you now? Knowing that those three mares are the subtle levels of mind that allow us to abide in a state of grace, lead the divine life, and yet as is the way with our spiritual journey, it leads inexorably to that abyss, that void, that which is beyond your mind, seemingly so. What is it that holds you steady in life? Now, what is your black stallion? Looking at the story, giving it its lead, knowing it knows where to go. What is this black stallion for you? Questions been asked previously. When we have nowhere to go, nothing to do, and nothing to be, what is it that makes us get up in the morning and do what we do? What is it that allows us now to interact in life when, for the most part, our ego desires have been relinquished, taken away? What is this black stallion?
They're just acting in the moment. Just action.
Isn't it more
Bringing
real than that for us? Isn't it more real than that for us? Or would you call that knowing?
Well, knowing or intuition, that's what came to mind initially. It's also taking action in the moment.
It's more in a way confronting than that. Because we know mind, and we know mind, what mind is. But what is it that is not mind? Like we talk about God, the formless and the form. The form we know is mind. What is the formless?
Life.
Right. Life. Yes. Life. But looking at this tale of the black stallion and the danger that there is in this place, that we could lose our interaction with life. What is it that keeps us doing what we do? Getting up in the morning, living life. Is it life that does that? Is it life itself? That's mind.
Another word could be nature. It's our innate nature of things.
Yes.
Intelligence.
Purpose of life, it's all
Mind.
movement and mind, isn't it?
It's like a universal energy that has no individual. It's not personal. It doesn't belong to us or to anybody.
Yes, but is that a driving force? Is that makes us get up in the morning? Spirit? Is still movement.
Nothing.
Nothing. Nothing. Nothing. What is nothing to you?
Nothing.
Nothing. Could it be? Could it be? Is it possible? No, you say nothing and everything. Let me give it another name. Stillness. No thing. Emptiness.
Which is all the opposite of movement.
All right.
And we're in duality.
That's
So
right.
that's what makes us get up.
That's what motivates us in the morning. But we're talking about this danger. The danger of slipping into that place where we become a wandering
Presence.
presence.
Presence is nothing and everything.
Uh-huh. Okay. So, what is your black stallion?
Presence.
Okay.
Awareness.
Awareness? Yes? Anyone else give it a name?
Well,
Being-
black stallion could be, it could be an advantage that you have over things.
Uh-huh.
Black stallion as a, I just think it means that black stallion is an advantage over something, so it could mean your forte.
Uh-huh. Mhm. There's nothing to prove here, but you know the purpose of these stories is to stimulate our awareness so that we don't fall into that danger. There's nothing that can be given to us that can say, this is what it is. But unless you've got that for yourself, there is the danger that you're going to fall into that abyss. Insane asylums are full of people who've tipped over the edge of mind and lost touch with their ability to relate to life. Just like there are those wandering, seeming beggars in India and other places, and in our own streets that have lost touch.
So, Pat, is it then awareness that keeps us in touch with reality?
Is it awareness? You look at yourself, for yourself. What is it that works for us?
Presence.
Presence, all right? Presence. Being here now. Being alert, being focused. Is that what it is for you? Love? Yes?
I feel a sense of watching, watching over myself when I've been in those places, almost hitting over the edge. Just knowing the difference between this is a delusion and just watching.
Uh-huh. Okay. So,
No,
it's always been worthwhile, isn't it? You can see all the minds ticking over.
but it's not listening to mind, is it? If you listen to mind, you will be just like one of those
Yes,
people
yes.
wandering around and tipping over.
Yes, it's not to do.
Does anyone want to buy a black stallion?
Prove a point.